So for Joe Gibbs Racing, Alex, starting with you, was this a setback for the organization and how do they regroup for Homestead?
For Martin Truex Jr., he was already behind. I think he actually had a better day, but then they shot themselves in the foot. I know they regrouped to get a top 10 finish, but just kind of a really off day once again for the 19. First top 10 for them since Watkins Glen, which is good, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to advance. Denny Hamlin led some laps today, but like I said, I just don't think he's really the favorite anymore. He's just not as strong as he was at the start of the playoffs. But for Bell is really the leading man for Gibbs after today. I mean, he almost won the race. I don't know if this was necessarily a setback for the organization as a whole. I definitely think they all three still have a shot at making the championship four. I don't see that happening necessarily, but I feel like for Bell, this is a big step in the right direction. So close. If he doesn't make it, that's really going to sting. But Truex is just the wild card for JGR. I don't know what to think of them. Just the call with James Small keeping them out and Truex being frustrated on the radio all day long and then come back to a 10th place finish. It's like, you want to call this a bad day? But was it? Because they haven't had this kind of a good day since, what, August? September? So, yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting.
I definitely wouldn't call it a setback. You had three cars in the top 10 today, and they're all basically right on the cut line there. It'd be hard for Gibbs to honestly be in a better position. The only way they could be in a better position, I think, is if Christopher Bell had had one more lap and gotten around Larson for the win today. You could say it's a setback for Ty Gibbs, I suppose, with the problems that he had later there in the race, but Ty Gibbs isn't racing for a championship right now. Ty Gibbs is a rookie just trying to finish out his first season and gain as much experience as he can to become a championship contender a few years down the road. For the three championship contenders for Gibbs right now, and let's not forget 2019, they've done that before, taking three of the four championship four spots. So I wouldn't put it past them to do that again with this crew of drivers that they have this year. But again, it's kind of crazy that we're talking about Martin Truex Jr. here with a ninth place finish today, and that's his best finish since whenever it was. I think Watkins Glen in August a couple months ago. So that team, I'm with you, Alex. It's certainly a wild card right now. I know that team obviously won the regular season championship. They have a lot of pace. They have the capability to do it. They just haven't been doing it the last several weeks. And again, we shouldn't be talking about a ninth place finish as their best result in a while, but that's where they are right now. So it'll be interesting to see if they can build on this and recapture some of that magic from the regular season and go on a championship run. But I don't think it was a terrible day for JGR by any means. Like I said, three of their four cars in the top 10, and just came up just a little bit short of punching Christopher Bell's ticket to a championship four. I think if they take this momentum and use it the right way, they've got a great chance over the next 2 weeks to get the job done.
Now I've got a follow-up for you guys here. So Homestead is one of Reddick's best tracks, and should he win, it would put two of the three JGR cars below the cut line. Byron has won at Martinsville, and Hendrick Motorsports has more wins than any other team at that track. So, Ben, if a non JGR team wins at Homestead, how likely could we see only one or even no JGR teams in the championship four?
I think that would be very likely. You mentioned Reddick, obviously Byron as well. It has had some strong runs to that track before. It worked out perfectly for Reddick when that was the championship race because it allowed him to go win a couple of Xfinity Series championships. I think when he made those Final Fours. But yeah, I think if a Gibbs team doesn't win Homestead, I think it's going to be very tough, especially if it's another playoff driver. Like if it's a wild card, like what we saw last week at the Roval with AJ Allmendinger, or if a non-playoff driver wins at Homestead, then it's up in the air for anybody, I think. But if you've got a driver like Chris Buescher going out and winning Homestead and taking up that second spot, well, now it's going to be very difficult for Gibbs to even get two cars into their up from their program into the championship four and take up those two remaining spots. So I think it certainly has to be circled on their calendar. I think it's a great chance for Christopher Bell to go out and avenge his near miss today and punch his ticket to the championship four. Obviously, Denny Hamlin's going to be just as hungry to do that as is Martin Truex Jr. So it certainly has to be circled on their calendar for next week.
Yeah, like I said earlier, at JGR, they kind of have a wild card drivers here. Truex, I would not bet money on Martin Truex Jr., is what I'll say there. Christopher Bell, like I said, he could do really good at Homestead, but I would really look at Tyler Reddick, as you mentioned, Isha and Ben. I feel like he's probably the second favorite behind Kyle Larson going into Homestead, and if he's going to knock out a JGR car, it would definitely be them. But Denny Hamlin's good at Homestead as well. But are they going to be able to catch Kyle Larson? I don't know. Larson doesn't. If Larson hits the wall and it destroys his car, it doesn't really matter. So he might just be out there right in the wall the whole day. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens for sure. But and you mentioned Ben also. Chris Buescher had a really rough day today. He could go out and win Homestead too. That's a pretty good track for him as well, I believe. So lots of things could happen. Homestead's gonna be very fun to watch.